My sixth grade camp experience sucked. It was a total disaster. Maybe not for everybody else, but I didn't like it.
I didn't exactly know what to expect from sixth grade camp because all we knew about it until then was a presentation that the principal gave us about what we were going to expect going there. You see, in grades 4th through 6th, I was put in a special needs class. Maybe not for any particular reason, maybe because it was easy. I don't know, I was a slow learner. But because of this, I was the only one from my class to go to 6th grade camp. Everyone else who went was from the other class. Well, maybe now that I think about it, maybe the reason why nobody else from my class went was because they didn't want to. The only friend I had that was going to camp with me was my friend who I'm going to call Keith. That's not his real name, but I'm not going to say his real name to protect his privacy. You'll understand. When the day finally came, we all boarded onto a bus and headed off for the camp. Our camp was out in Julian, in a place called Camp Koyamaka. After a very long bus ride, we arrived on the campgrounds. There was a long presentation, then we were off to the cabins. And those were my biggest problem with the camp. I did not know what to expect from the cabins, but it was not this. In case you're wondering, here's a picture of what they looked like. You'll see why. This did not look like the cabins they showed in the presentation at school. They looked more like something out of Full Metal Jacket. Our time in those cabins consisted of us just sitting on the floor. We weren't allowed to do anything but sit on the floor as our camp instructor spoke. They said that we were going to have plenty of free time in those cabins. Unless you count sitting on the floor, free time. This was not free time. I don't know. Maybe we were going to have plenty of free time the rest of the week. This was orientation after all, so I don't know. We unpacked our stuff, and that was like the only free time we had that day. Then, after another 30 minutes of sitting on the floor listening to our teacher talking, we went to the cafeteria to eat some Sloppy Joe. I don't like Sloppy Joe. But my diet was very limited then. I was kind of a picky eater. So after that, we spent a little more time in our cabin. At this point, it was past the time I usually go home from school, and I was starting to feel extremely homesick. This was the first time I ever actually been alone, so I started to tear up. After that happened, we got outside and started our first assignment, which was a nature hike. Yay. I don't remember exactly what happened during that. I'm pretty sure I mostly just complained the whole time because I hate hikes. Then we said we had to go back to the science room and jot down what we saw. I think. And being a man of science, I thought this sounded great. But then when I went in there, this is what I saw. Taxidermy, taxidermy, taxidermy. Taxidermy is like the pit of the uncanny valley for me, and I have a deep-seated repulsion to it, and this room was absolutely full of it. At that point, there was only one thing I could do. I spent like 10 minutes or so curled up in a ball outside, sobbing. Eventually, my anxiety and homesickness got the best of me, and it was clear that I had to get the hell out of there as soon as possible. I spent the rest of the day in the front office. My mom said that my dad would come to pick me up. I only came out for dinner and they had bean burritos, another thing that I don't like. So the entire day I had nothing but a few slices of bread, some chocolate milk, some cheese crackers, and a raw tortilla, which is a lot less food than it sounds like. Eventually they told me that my dad was on his way and for me to get my stuff from the cabin. So I did, and I also had to tell Keith that I was leaving. Eventually my dad arrived and I loaded up my stuff and we headed home. It was like nighttime at this point. I got home, my brothers were happy to see me, and I was able to sleep in my own bed that night. And the rest of the week was just a normal school week. Usually, people look back on stuff like this and see it as one of the best experiences of their lives. But it's been 4 years now, and I'm still probably going to think of this as the most disastrous trips I've ever had. Sorry the audio from my last video was so bad, I was recording it from a headset. I got a microphone recently, so my videos should sound a lot better. Also, just a heads up, I'm probably not going to be uploading for a little bit after this. I know I said my upload schedules was going to be like at least once a month, but I'm going to be working on something big. Yeah, not even 2 videos in and I'm already working on a big project. This is an animation channel after all. I have no idea when this is going to be out, but be sure to watch it when it does. I'll see you then.